And now, from the Midwest, is the Magic in the Midwest podcast, number 37. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The most magical podcast in the Midwest is on its 37th episode. And now, your hosts, USA Today best-selling author J.B. Michaels and his more successful wife, Ashley Michaels. All right, take it away, J.B. Well, thank you. Why, thank you, host. I really appreciate it.
I wonder who the host, or I wonder who that announcer guy is.
I don't know, but he sounds real good.
He sounds very attractive.
Right. Anyway, yes, so hi, everybody. It is a brisk day here in the Midwest. It is 30. It's in the 30s. It's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. It could be worse, Could be worse.
Could always be worse.
It could always be worse. So, yeah, it isn't that bad today here in the not the magical Midwest, but, I guess, yeah, a lot of good things, I guess, about it. No, you're disagreeing, and then you're agreeing, and then you're disagreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to focus in on the original theme park IP attractions versus the motion picture or book IP attractions of Epcot Center. So before we begin that specific topic, why don't we do a little housekeeping here? I want to thank everyone who supports us on Bandcamp. Again, for just as little as $3 a month, you could support us on Bandcamp, Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com. And it helps us keep this podcast going because there are some costs to offset and all these things. So we do really appreciate you guys. Also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So how's it going, Ash?
It's going real good.
It's going real good.
Just real good in general.
What'd you do today?
I don't even know. Wasn't a great, productive day.
I think we did a pretty good job.
Well, we started decorating for Christmas.
Yeah, we're decorating.
So, but we don't have our tree yet. So
yeah, once you get the tree rolling, then it's set.
Normally we do it all at once, but we didn't.
We didn't. We decided to get the decorations up first. Because why not?
Why not?
Why not?
And this year we have 2 trees. We're going to have 2 trees.
Yes.
We have a fake one on the middle floor, and we will have a real one downstairs, which is our main living area for all those that need to know that.
Yes. Now that you know.
What else did we do? I don't know. We went to Target.
We did. We got some more decorative stuff over at the Targ. So that wasn't bad. It wasn't that crowded or busy, so that's good.
Yes.
Yes. So, yes. And it was pretty picked over at the Target as far as decorations
we wanted to add just a few things, and we did, but, really picked over.
Yeah, we wanted to get a Frosty the Snowman, and I feel like we accomplished it.
We got a really cute one.
It's very, very cute. He's very cute. Yeah. Love him.
Kind of reminds me of Harrison.
Love him. Yeah, pretty much. Just Harrison, of course, is full of cheer. He's full of cheer.
Yes, he's better
singing
than both of us.
singing songs and just saying how beautiful everything is and helping put up decorations by, not really helping, but just following us.
This is beautiful.
Oh my God, beautiful.
And
beautiful.
And he says poinsettias are poinsettias.
Poinsettias, yes.
Those are poinsettia flowers.
Those are poinsettia flowers. That's so cute. I can't get over how cute the kid is.
I know. He's going to be a teenager soon and be awful.
Oh my gosh, will you stop? He's got a long way to go before that.
I'm just saying time flies. Don't be...
Long way to go. Let's be positive. Let's be positive. Let's enjoy the time.
I just thought of something to remind me to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Later.
way to kill the flow. Remind me to tell you. Now I'm all worried about.
I'm just gonna tell you. Remember when you wanted one of those things where you could hang mugs on?
Yeah.
We could put it there. We just have to move.
Indy.
I'm sure there's another spot for Indy.
Yeah, there is. We could put Indy in a different spot. Sure.
I'm just saying that would be a good spot for it.
It would be. It would be.
Something to think about.
I thought about that myself.
You didn't.
I did. And I just didn't say anything because I didn't want Indy to move. But if we have to move Indy, we can. Yeah, we got spots. We got spots. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it.
Right.
I like Indy, but he could be moved.
We could put it. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Let's have the full discussion.
Right. I don't think people care about this. They're here to learn, listen about Disney World in particular.
All right, will you?
Today we're talking about Epcot Center. Will I what? Will you what?
Carry on.
D. Papes. So we were, we did this podcast with Magic Kingdom, right, where we did theme park originals versus like motion picture originals, and then so right now we're going to do the same with Epcot, and Epcot is in its latter years becoming increasingly more one of those ways. So why don't we go through the list of attractions? Which are the original attractions, like original IP to Epcot?
Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth. Soarin'. Whatever
the one with Figment is called. Don't know.
Journey into Imagination.
What about Test Track?
Yeah. That would be original.
And
Mission Space.
Oh, Mission Space, right? Okay. Is that
this actually has, a lot of original idea attractions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that is it. We could count some other. Really? Wow. Did we really just name all of them? I think we did. Now here's the interesting thing.
Well, because Epcot,
Living with the Land. Living with the Land.
I forget Living with the Land.
Yeah, it's your favorite ride.
Well, you have to remember, too, that Epcot, obviously, the World Showcase offers a lot just, because of what it is. So you're not going to see as many attractions.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The attractions are the pavilions themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't say that, I don't know why.
Right. It's interesting because World Showcase did have original attractions. The two original attractions there were the the Rio del Tiempo. Okay, which is the boat ride attraction in the Mexico Pavilion. And that used to be original with no characters whatsoever. And then Disney decided, I think earlier, I think maybe it was like 2013 or something. I can't remember when they did it. But they kind of reskinned it. And they called it now it's the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros. Mm-hmm. So now there's Donald, with the Panchito, and I forget the other guy's name. So now there is characters in the ride. So I don't know if we can call that an original theme park attraction.
Yeah, it's hard
anymore.
To say.
You know what I mean? Because it's sort of got a character makeover.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Maelstrom was over in Norway, and now it is no longer Maelstrom. It's now Frozen Ever After.
Yes.
So which is obviously huge IP, right? A huge motion picture IP, not original to the park. It's not like Anna and Elsa started in the park and then were made into a movie. It was the other way around. So. It's interesting, too, if you go all the way back to Epcot with the original pavilions, the whole concept for Epcot was to be an original idea. It was nothing, there were no characters whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, no characters at all.
No Disney IP whatsoever. No Magic Kingdom type IP at all.
Yeah.
It had Horizons, Spaceship Earth, what else? Motion. The land, of course, the living seas. So it was all these pavilions that sort of had their own, original ideas that had you wouldn't have known really that you were in a Disney park. Because there's
Yeah.
no Mickey Mouse, even in the early days of Epcot, the pure early days of Epcot, which, there's a huge part of the fan community that, like, misses that and wants to go back to that.
Yeah.
So, and the Living Seas got a reskin as well. Because the Living
Right.
Seas used to be,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, the Seas with Nemo and Friends, took its place. So now there's character IP in the Living Seas. It's not even called the Living Seas anymore. It's called the Seas with Nemo and Friends Pavilion or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
So,
do you stand in terms of characters in the park?
I think I was there when they actually, the first summer that I think Eisner took over, and he said, let's get the characters of the park. We need to do something to get people to go to Epcot. We spent like over $1 billion to build this park. We need people to go to it. So I did go to like a character breakfast with Mickey and Minnie and the gang in these like rainbow bright like spacesuit. I think I'm not
Yeah, but I
kidding.
mean, what do you think now? What do you?
It's weird. I do worry that Epcot will become. I mean, although they did like lay out their plans for Epcot, which I feel like in a way does maintain some of the original spirit of Epcot, which is about really nonfiction. I mean, it's supposed to be more nonfiction based in science and technology and the future and learning about the world, natural world.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's doing a blending of that. I'm a little concerned that really Epcot is just going to be a glorified Magic Kingdom 0.2, 2.0. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I do. I feel like I am somewhere in the middle. Like I don't mind that the Fab Five make appearances or little touches here and there. I don't. But I'm conflicted because I'll be honest and say that I'm excited for Guardians. I'm also excited
Right.
for Ratatouille. And I think that conflict comes from just really appreciating well done attractions.
Yes.
And I know that they will both be amazing, but at the same time, I stand by that. I feel like Frozen, as much as Frozen Ever After is a great attraction, it's really good, it's misplaced. And I feel like it's a slippery slope of where, like you said, is it Magic Kingdom 2.0? What happens? Where will we be 10 years from now? What will Epcot be like?
Right.
Will every country have an IP movie
based
attraction
Yeah.
in it? And, it's not all bad. Like, I'm not saying that's, like, horrible and, the worst that there could ever be, on planet Earth. But I also think that was really not the intention.
Although, I think it's really interesting because where the Ratatouille ride is in France, it's actually closer to the waterway by the International Gateway. So it's actually further away from the
Like
restaurants
the pavilion
and the pavilion. So it's sort of like in its own little area. It's still France, but it's in its own little area. Whereas in Frozen Ever After is smack dab in the middle of
This
the...
is what I think, though, too, is that, there's a lot of Disney movies that are, not a lot, but some other ones that take place in France, I think, where they're, like, technically in France or whatever. But
Yeah.
Ratatouille is probably the most popular. And, I mean, that only showed up in Disneyland Paris because...
It's Disneyland Paris.
Because it's Disneyland Paris, right? Where I feel like Frozen was it's just a money bag.
Yeah.
Oh, we made so much money, where can we jam it? We'll
Right.
jam it here. And then because Ratatouille was so popular over in Disneyland Paris, now we're bringing that over. So what happens to the rest of the world showcase? I
Right.
don't feel like Ratatouille and Frozen are necessarily the same in that way. Maybe in Disney World, but I feel like the reason why it was featured in Disneyland Paris is because
Yeah.
That's the movie the Disney animated movie that most people think of when they think of
Right.
France.
All right. So
anyways.
now here's an interesting question I was going to ask you. Do you think that Ratatouille, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, that's what the name of it is, do you think that is more befitting of France than Frozen Ever After is befitting of Norway? You know what I mean? Do you think like maybe one is a little closer of a link than the other, or do you don't think that matters?
I mean, I don't think it's a huge difference. I do think that here's what I think. I feel like it's just a feeling for me. I feel like Ratatouille is almost like a supplement to the France Pavilion. That movie very clear. It's not really about. I mean, yes, it's about Remy, but it's about the
Cooking
culture
and chef, yeah,
and everything. A lot of things that French culture appreciate, and that type of thing. Whereas Frozen,
which you're pretty French.
I am.
Found out. Yeah.
Frozen is just Anna and Elsa like in Ratatouille, they're in France. In Frozen, they're in Arendelle, which is a made up. We're getting into semantics here, but I feel like it's just every.
So you think Ratatouille is a stronger link?
We're gonna pretend that this is really Norway because that's what it looks like.
Okay, so
I do feel like there's a little bit
stronger
more
of a link to Remy's.
And it's not a money bag because Ratatouille was not like some big box office. hit.
No, it was still a hit.
In the end,
but
it's the same, right? It's this
hit.
IP attraction that is being jammed into the World Showcase. Am I excited to go on it? I am. I'll admit that I'm conflicted there, but I also think that not only this, but other things too. Disney used to care more about sightlines in terms of hotels and even within the park, like things you can see from certain points of view, making sure that none of those worlds
break
or
the
lands,
illusion.
Overlapped at all. And I feel like we're really just, taking steps further and further away from that. And in the end, I know that people say Disney's not a library. A library?
A museum.
A museum.
Yeah.
This is what happens
a library?
when we record late.
A library?
It's not even that late. But I also think, for me, the deciding factor is, if you were to ask Walt, what would he say about it? And I think he would be upset about it. I don't think he'd be all about it. I really don't.
I wonder how the people that work, I wonder what operations thinks. I was thinking about this too when we're talking, since we're still on the topic of Ratatouille, which opens in a couple months, by the way. Its target opening date is February, so it's going to be open.
And it's
soon.
supposed to be exactly the same, right, as the Disneyland Paris.
From what I understand, I feel like the Ratatouille adventure is very similar to the Spider-Man ride at Universal Islands of Adventure. I think it's pretty much the same type of ride vehicle and same type of ride experience. So just to, if you guys want a frame of reference, that's what it's going to be like. Obviously, you're the size of a rat, right? And you're trying to...
You are Remy.
You are Remy, and you're running through a, kitchen in France. So... The other thing is, too, I was thinking about this, like, now we have the Skyliner, which drops off right at the International Gateway, and you're going to have Ratatouille right there, basically when you get off, and the UK Pavilion. So France and UK Pavilion are already two of the more popular pavilions, and now you're going to have Ratatouille right there. I feel like that section of the park is going to be... jammed, even more jammed than usual.
Those are already two very popular pavilions.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yeah.
And it's a popular location because of that entrance. And
right, and you're going to have people... I wonder how many people, if you think about it, are just going to hop on the Skyliner, jump off, get on Remy, you know what I mean? Jump back out of the park, go to studios, go wherever they need to go next. Like, it's kind of interesting to see how big of an impact it will have, like, on the area itself. I mean, from what I understand, this is the most popular ride in Disneyland Paris. It's like a huge hit ride.
Doesn't that make sense, though, that the reason why it was put in Disneyland Paris, and now I feel like it just gets brought over here because it's really popular. Like,
Well,
I
it's
feel like,
good,
which
but-
is, I mean, I'm not saying that's bad. I just think that, you know, Disney World seems to be now just this, like, dumping ground in a way for, like, oh, this was good, so we'll just dump it here. We'll just drop it here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say that. It's actually kind of interesting. I think Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is actually in the Studios theme park over in Paris. It's not in Disneyland Paris. I think it's in the Disney Studios Paris park, which is like really a small park. But I guess that makes sense because technically it was a movie. So it's, in a way, it's almost like Remy and the Ratatouille Adventure fits better in the France Pavilion than it does in the studios.
That's true, it does. You know, on that note,
know.
though, this is something I was thinking about the other day. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Toy Story Land is amazing, and Galaxy's Edge, I'm sure... We're having wine. Galaxy's Edge, I'm sure, is... I mean, you know, everyone says it's great. But to me, it's strange that it's in studios. Like, it's just these two lands that were just
Really?
dropped. I mean, like, that's never really what studios was before. It was about the studios. And now there's just these themed lands. Like, this is what...
I see what you
themed
mean.
land? I mean,
But
like, I'm
I
not
feel
saying
like
it's
they're
an
big movies. But you're right. See, now we're blurring that line, right? Because it's like...
Because I'm starting to feel like it's not just Epcot that's starting to feel like Magic Kingdom. Like, to me, Toy Story Land feels like Magic Kingdom to me. That's what it feels like. It feels
Right, because
like
it's really more... It's not really about a movie making situation.
Neither
It's
is
just,
Galaxy's Edge.
Well, take a look at Universal Studios. Like, it's more just...
You know, and not that it has to all be themed perfectly, but I also think we're getting further and further away, little by little, of the parks really having these different feels to them.
Yes, I think that's really huge. Because will future generations say that Epcot is unique, or they'll just be like, "Oh,
this
yeah,
is where you go to
go to
Galaxy's Edge.
Guardians.
This is where you go to do
Right.
Toy Story Land.
I
This is where you
wonder-
go to do this." Like, I'm starting to feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong. These are all things that really excite me, and they're really cool, and I love visiting them. But I think that, you know, when we first went together, which was only 6 or 7 years ago, all the parks felt more different than they do now.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing.
You know, and I would also feel different if the Frozen Ever After ride was more like Maelstrom, and Anna and Elsa were featured.
Oh, that would be interesting.
You know, like, it was still about the culture
Yeah.
and, you know, whatever.
Of Norway, but there was
they
a
were-
cool section.
Yeah,
that
because,
could-
you know, there's nothing about that ride that is, like, educational. It's just the movie. You know, and I think Remy will be the same. You could argue that it incorporates more culture because that's how the movie is.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would feel different if they were part of the
Yeah.
Maelstrom
Yeah.
versus it being, you know...
I'm glad that Disney is refreshing Epcot, and, you know, they renamed some of the areas, and they're like trying to make it, you know, because Future World really needed help. It desperately needed.
Yeah, but don't you feel like Guardians, from what I've read and what I understand, the ride will still be educational?
It'll be an energy ride.
You know, it's not
Takes
really
place in
like,
the universe
oh,
of
you're
energy.
in Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Like, we're not redoing the movie and you're
Right.
in it. Like,
Right.
I feel like they're using the characters to create an attraction that's educational and fun and engaging.
Yeah.
And to me, that feels different.
Yeah. Well, and then, so yeah, why don't we just, you know, we'll talk about, you know, Guardians. Okay, and in Guardians' case, it actually is taking the place of an original Epcot attraction. Yeah. So now, obviously, this had a refresh, okay, in the past. So it was just Universe of Energy, and it was a very, I mean, it had like a, the first part of the experience was you're standing in a theater with multiple screens, and it's a huge widescreen theater, and there's multiple screens, and you're learning about different forms of energy, and it was very dry, I guess you could say, because it was just learning about oil and fossil fuels and solar power and wind power. And then you go on this ride element of it, which mixes more theater screens that show you things, but also you go through, you see dinosaurs, and you see like the evolution of Earth and how we got to this point where there's this fuel inside the Earth, blah, blah. You're learning things, right?
Yeah.
And then in 1992 or 94, maybe, they switched it to Ellen DeGeneres' Energy Adventure, Ellen's Energy Adventure, and it stayed Ellen's Energy Adventure
for a long
for
time.
like 20-something years. It was a long time. Longer than the original version
It was
of
definitely more engaging.
Yeah, it was more engaging. It was funny. Ellen was very young at the time. It was when Ellen had her first big hit, her ABC show, that she had a big hit with. And that opened, and then, Disney didn't really do anything to it. They just kind of let it run forever. And
Future World for a long time
was not Future World.
It was like
it was
the future from the 80s,
early
and
90s and 80s. Yes. So I'm glad that they're refreshing it. So now to take the place of Universe of Energy is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which apparently, like we've talked about in the past in this podcast, Chris Pratt's character Star-Lord was a child whose mother took him to Epcot Center, and he loved Epcot Center. And I think it does sort of, it does bring up energy as some form of like that. The story revolves around energy,
right?
Revolves around energy, guys. So it's going to be amazing. Disney did post a ride sort of preview, of the vehicles that you're in and sort of the track and what's going to be happening. Wow. I mean, it's just going to be amazing.
I haven't seen any of that.
And James Gunn, of course, is directing the theatrical elements of it. The whole cast is going to be in it. I mean, the Guardians is really great. Like, Guardians was really, if you think about it, was Marvel's biggest gamble. Marvel Studios' biggest gamble. They were like, everyone was like, is Guardians going to be a good Marvel movie? It's going to flop. Like, no one really knows about the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's kind of an obscure team that they had in the late 70s, early 80s. And of course, what happens? It blows up. It's huge. Of course, like
I think a lot of that's the cast, though.
Yeah, Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Zoe Saldana, and Bradley Cooper. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it is the performances, but it was just a really fun movie, So that blew up. So now Disney's like, and Disney also cannot put the Avengers in Disney World because of the agreement.
We've talked about that,
right, with Universal. So, but their Guardians are good to go. So they could do that. Mm-hmm. So they're making Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Sorry, there was just a creak in the floor. We both freaked out. A little bit of a creak. Yep. Ash, it's fine.
I'm not freaking out.
Yeah, why are you staring over there at it?
Because that's where the sound came from.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we have, our house creaks.
It's creakies. All right, so
one of us gets a little bit more freaked out than the other one.
Chick.
Not Ash.
Okay. Yeah, right. So Ash, what do you think of? I mean, let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Are you more excited for the? Would you rather have Ellen's Energy Adventure still there, or would you want Guardians of the Galaxy?
What kind of a stupid question is that? I mean, that's like a stupid question.
Well,
you're
it's
stupid.
Not.
Who's going to vote for?
Some people would still want Ellen's Energy Adventure.
No, they wouldn't. Who are they? Call in, please, because I would like to speak to you.
Yes, this is a live radio show.
I'm not even a huge Guardians fan. It's a little far out there for me. I mean, I like it, but it's definitely not in my top Marvel movies.
Right, right.
Personally.
Because you're kind of a grump. But that's okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
I think we all know that my review of movies, you should definitely trust me more than JB. Hashtag Lone Ranger.
Oh my gosh, stop it. Lone Ranger is a good movie.
Oh my gosh, it's
All right,
horrible.
keep going.
I mean, I just think it's exciting. So
It is exciting. It is.
I think people at this point would be excited for anything to come in there.
Right.
Because it's,
Right.
not that, I mean, I liked Ellen's Energy Adventure. It's just, it's time for a change.
So, and here's another thing that's going to be happening from that, like Epcot. So, Universe of Energy is by Mission Space and Test Track. And Mission Space is getting that new restaurant, Space 220.
Yeah.
So, like, this whole area of the park is also going to be jammed. Like, I mean, Epcot
Yeah, but you know what?
It's good.
Fine,
It's
because,
good.
Future World, yeah, I mean, they're not that close together. I mean, you know what I mean? It's Epcot's spaced out, especially in Future
It is,
World.
it
I
is.
think that it can handle crowds well.
It could, yeah,
and
it does.
everyone in Epcot is generally in World Showcase or at Test Track or in Line for
And the
Soaring.
building
That's
for
it.
Guardians is ginormous.
It's huge.
The Energy Pavilion now is huge. I mean, really big. So I'm so excited for that. Like, I'm very pumped for Guardians. That I'm okay with it being from a different property. I mean, I actually am, because I like. Okay, so
Yeah, but
some
I
people think
said
it's
that.
a little contrived that we're gonna try and like shoehorn some silly thing about Star-Lord as a kid loving Epcot and.
I mean, I
blah,
feel like
blah,
you're
blah.
really judging those people.
I know, like, why, why,
I
no, I
get it.
feel like they're very judgy. Like, they're like, oh, I think it's contrived. And I was like, well, I guess I guess it could be, right? But I still think if they do it well, if they do it right, you could still learn about it, energy and have a whole
I'll be
lot of
honest.
fun.
I think it's going to be hard to do that well. I think it's a little hard to pull that stuff off because it's a little too,
What do you mean?
like, meta. It's too...
Too meta on the nose?
Yeah, I think so.
You
I
think it'll fly over people's heads, or you think it's just
I think it's just, they need to do it well. Mm-hmm. I get it. It's kind of kitschy, but at the same time, it could be really dumb.
right.
So I know that again, here's JB being blinded by how much he loves Guardians. I understand the people that feel that way. I do, because
No,
it has to be done right.
No, I love Epcot more than Guardians. So I'm with you. I want it to be done right. If it's like something that's just kind of shoehorned.
what
in
I
over
do
the
have my doubts about it being done right because of that story. It's a little...
I at least think
I mean,
they're
I
trying.
like it. If they do it well, it'll be really cool. But
I think they're trying, right? So I mean,
I don't care if they're trying. It's their job, and they should do it well.
Whoa, and that's the
Sorry.
bottom line, because Ash said so.
That's right.
Oh hell yeah,
316.
that's right. Ash 316. Do
I
your
have
job.
shirts made up.
We should do your job. Where do you get
No,
shirts?
Ash 316.
Right.
Not do your job.
I kind of like that. Let's do it. Okay.
I don't need
so,
your permission.
Okay.
Just your credit card.
Next, living with the land. There's nothing on the credit card. There's no room.
Debit card.
Okay. So now the land pavilion, all original stuff. Do you like it? Not like it. What do you feel? How do you feel about that? It's got Soarin', and it's got living with the
Yeah,
land.
I mean, it's a great pavilion.
There doesn't need to be. There used to be characters in there with the Lion King, but now that's not even there anymore. So it's
I
just.
don't really care if there were characters like in there in that what's the name of that restaurant in there that rotates?
The
Garden Grill.
Garden Grill. You did it. I'm so proud of you.
I don't like the way your face looks right now.
So you're not good with that stuff, but you did it.
Yeah, I know. I'm really bad with names.
So you're good with that. So you like the
I
original
think that
attractions.
That's fine,
there.
but I mean, both those attractions are great. I think.
Okay, yeah, I think so too. I think that Soarin' is. I mean, technically, Soarin' was originally opened and conceived in California for Disney's California Adventure Park, but I feel like it fits in the land pavilion, and I feel like living with the land is a great experience, which apparently it has a holiday makeover, which is cool.
Are you having like esophagus problems?
No. And then,
Excuse you.
thank you. Excuse me. Anyway, sorry, I was talking and you stopped me from talking
Because you
you're
burped
the worst.
into the mic.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No one heard it. Did you guys hear it? Let me know.
I'm gonna put a poll up.
Bark, bark. Okay.
I'm gonna vote on it 3 times.
Right. Anyway. Okay. So, what do you think about the Seas with Nemo and Friends? How do you feel about that? That's a IP motion picture IP attraction.
I feel like the ride is okay-ish. I mean, I never have to go on it again. You know, it's there.
You want to go on it again? It's really an easy ride to go on. It's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'll go on it, but it's not like you're gonna walk out of the park being like, wow.
So glad we went on
Seas with Nemo, I love that. So great.
Ash is pretty severe today.
No, but I just don't think it's going to be anyone's favorite ride at Epcot. I just, maybe some kid that loves Nemo. I don't know. But
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool.
as a grown-up, I don't think you're going to walk out, like, loving that ride the most. I mean, you're in the little shell.
I feel like Turtle Talk is probably the better attraction.
Yeah, that's definitely the better attraction.
Yeah,
I think
Turtle
so.
Talk with Crush, which I've heard that Turtle Talk with Crush is on his last legs.
It's so good.
They
and
might-
it's always busy.
Yeah, they might be shutting that down. I don't
That's
know.
a shame.
I don't know why. They're probably going to put, Little Merm in there or
I
something.
mean, I like the aquarium.
Yeah, I know.
And
the aquarium's awesome.
When
too.
they incorporate that, because you do see that sometimes on the
Yeah.
ride too. And I mean, I
Which
like
is- that's a
Nemo
neat
and Dory is
trick.
cute, and
Yeah.
it's great, but it's just like a bunch of screens mostly.
Screens mixed with, yeah, exactly.
The aquarium.
Yeah. Okay, so you're really not super big fan, obviously.
I mean, I would always go on it, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, let's go on Seas with Nemo and Friends. Right
Do you
now.
think that okay, so let's move on then. So we're going to move on to Journey into Imagination, which interestingly enough over the
Pass.
weekend, I know. And
Hard
and
pass.
you know what? You're totally it's totally
horrible?
So, here's the weird thing. So basically this attraction was sponsored by Kodak. Kodak decided it didn't want to sponsor the attraction anymore. And they basically said, let's just get ready to do something else with it. We don't want to do it anymore.
Let's not associate ourselves with that.
And they used to be a great ride with Figment and the Dreamfinder. It was really an on par type of attraction
So
with
why did
pirates and like Haunted Mansion. It was a really cool
I gotta
ride.
be honest. So the ride that it is now is how I first experienced
Oh,
it,
it's-
and
yeah, it's
because
terrible.
of that,
Yeah.
I do not like Figment. Like I want to like Figment, but I'm like I have no
don't
desire
get
for
it.
that purple
Right.
and orange thing, dragon,
Right.
dinosaur. And whenever we're in that store, I'm like, get me out of here, because I just think of the ride. That's everything I know about Figment is the ride, and it's horrible. There are kids that like it because they think, kids.
Well, here's a cool thing about Imagination in Epcot. It's actually the original character. It's original characters
See,
created
when I really
for
want to like
Epcot.
that.
Yeah.
I think, the name Figment, Imagination, it's got a lot of potential. But the ride,
Well, right now
like,
it's not
Harrison has a
the
Figment,
same.
and I'm like, ooh, whatever.
Right.
I
right.
need a better memory.
Yeah, the original ride was really cool.
Why do you think they...
Well, I told you because Kodak pulled its sponsorship, and then they were like, "We're."
But I mean, why would they do that if it... I thought that was...
They just didn't want to do it anymore. They just didn't want to pay the money
Mm.
anymore. So then Disney did change it, and then it was changed, and Figment was completely gone from the ride for a couple of years. People were upset. They're like,
Well,
"What happened?
Did you do that?
What happened to this ride?" I remember it. I remember when Figment wasn't even in it. It was just like, what is
Why
this
would it
ride?
be a ride
So it was
without
just the guy.
Figment?
It was just the guy
That's the dumbest thing
from
ever.
Monty Python, just sort of like bumbling around in the ride.
Bumbling.
Right. And now he bumbles around with Figment, at least. But they reinserted Figment, and now that iteration of the ride has actually been around longer than the original ride Journey into Imagination with Figment.
But you said that
And
they
Dreamfinder.
are. You've heard that they're going to redo this.
Well, Tony Baxter keeps lobbying for it to be redone, right?
Well,
he wants
yes.
to restore it, revamp it. He's sort of like semi-retired, I hear. Like Tony Baxter still goes into the Imaginary office in California like once a week, or so he doesn't. He's like not completely gone, and he's responsible for like Big Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain and all these great attractions. He's a Imagineering icon, just like Joe Rohde, who just retired.
Rohde.
Yeah. So we have an interesting thing, so there may be some hope for imagination, but right now the state of imagination is not so good. So that original character created for Epcot is in some dire straits, basically. Okay, obviously Test Track, Ash, we love Test Track. It's cool. There's not really any characters, but it's original. It took the place of an original attraction called Motion. So it sort of connects, right? Because you're moving, it's momentum, physics, blah, blah, blah. And, showing you the different test types of things that cars go through. And then, of course, Mission Space is cool. Not great, but it's getting a Space 220. I'm sure with Space 220, it'll probably boost the ride.
I'm excited for that restaurant.
Yeah. If you don't know what Space 220 is, real quick, we'll go over it. It's basically a new restaurant which is going to be simulating that you're in orbit above planet Earth, and you're having dinner above planet Earth in the restaurant called Space 220. 220 something feet above Earth, or miles above Earth. 220 miles above
Feet
Earth.
or miles? I don't know.
Not feet.
Roughly the same. What's the?
I mean, 220 miles.
This is how JB is with just numbers and specifics and feet or miles. Yes, very close.
Well, we'll see. Okay, so that's going to boost that area. Original
fancy
attractions
is that
with
gonna
NASA. I don't think it's going to be super expensive. I'm guessing.
How
my
many
guess,
money signs?
2 money signs. I think it's going to be 2 money signs. $35 is probably going to be the max, maybe for an entree.
Okay.
So we'll see. I don't think they can go too much higher because there's already so many options in Epcot. You know what I mean? I think they're going to want to be a little more aggressive in their pricing.
Yeah, but you know what? Most of the options at Epcot are on one side of the park.
True. World Showcase.
Oh, is that what it's called over there? Is it how many feet or miles away from
listening?
Future World?
This is the sarcasm I deal with on a daily basis.
Do you think it's...
On a daily basis, everyone.
I don't think anyone
Pray
feels
for me.
bad.
Hashtag pray for JB.
Call the hotline.
Call the hotline.
Bleh.
Okay, so love, obviously, I mean, Epcot is full of really more original attractions. It's going to change a little bit with this reskin and with Harmonious, of course, as well. Harmonious is the nighttime spectacular, which is going to have a lot of IP in it, a lot of motion
I'm gonna
picture
try.
IP.
I'm rolling my eyes, everyone.
Yeah, I know.
Again.
It's going to be a lot of
Kingdom
whole new-
2.0.
I heard
Great.
that a lot
Happily
of it
ever after.
focuses around a whole new world with Aladdin and Jasmine.
Oh, great.
So it'll be interesting to see how that
Jasmine's
goes.
my favorite.
They're spending a ton of money on
Who believed me?
Harmonious. Right. I'm going to miss Illuminations, that's for sure. I already miss it. I mean, even Reflections of Earth was there for a long time, but it was still called Illuminations. Reflections of Earth. Okay. And then, of course, Spaceship Earth, Ash. It was supposed to get a reskin or some revamping. I think that's been put on the back burner because
I don't
of
mind.
everything.
I love Judi Dench.
Yeah.
Keep her forever.
Keep her. Do you think there needs to be characters thrown into Spaceship Earth?
No.
I don't think so either. So I hope that they keep that sacred in some way. So,
Would be nice.
yeah, yes. So, yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much covered most of it. Grand Fiesta Tour, do you like that Donald and the three cow? I think it's cute. I like that, actually. That I don't mind. Because in a way, Walt was like took a trip to Latin America and like they loved him. They loved him, he loved them. So it's kind of a cool. I think
Do
it's
you
fine.
feel like it's a difference though when characters appear in something versus it being like based on like a show?
Like yeah,
or
like
movie
you
they're
said,
in?
it was a really interesting point that you made about just making Anna and Elsa part of the Maelstrom rather than getting rid of the Maelstrom completely. So
know,
I think it's a good idea.
I have a lot of really great points.
You do. You have really a lot of great ideas, including this podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I love you.
Also, JB's best-selling books were my idea.
Well, that's actually not true.
Actually,
Let's
it
look at the
is.
stats.
Let's look at the numbers.
We're
Should
look
we
at the
look at
nums.
feet or miles?
The nums. Okay. Wow, shut up. 220 inches above Earth. Okay.
No, it just
All right. So overall, I feel like Epcot still, even though it's Ratatouille and Guardians and are kind of encroaching, and there's Harmonious is very heavy IP based.
Ugh.
I still think it's more of an original heavy theme park. I love it. Epcot is Epcot, and I hope that we remember that. And I really don't think it. Hopefully, it won't become Magic Kingdom 2.0. But let us know what you think, guys. So please, are you happy with the direction Epcot is heading, or not? You guys let us know, because obviously a lot of you are hardcore Disney fans who love Epcot. Let us know what you think. More original attractions, original characters created just for Epcot, or do you like that there's more characters from different arms of the Disney company sort of coming into the park? So if you want to rate and review us, please, on Apple Podcasts, that would be awesome. And then, of course, subscribe with Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com. And anything else to add, Ash?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Should I say more? I mean, you seem disappointed in that answer.
No, I just was giving you airtime because I love you and I was giving you enough time to speak.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening from the Midwest. See you later.